This is why I wrote the book, 51 Reasons for the King James, A Path from Doubt to Faith. Hi, I'm David Daniels from Chick Publications. When I was in Bible college, it was like being in a dark forest once I started taking classes. There were all these different Bible versions that surrounded me, and as I came to a verse, I'd find that the Sinaiticus and the Vaticanus and the Alexandrinus and the Codex Beza Cantabrigiensis and the Papyri all disagreed about what the words could be. I even sat there with guides as to which one was older and whether I would rely upon it based on some other kind of reasoning. Then I look at these people whose Bibles I thought were really good, the New American Standard and the American Standard and the New Revised Standard, and as I was looking at all these versions, I realized that these really great scholars disagreed on these verses. And I started to think that when I came to a verse, maybe I should just decide that I don't know what I believe about that verse. Then I'd set that verse aside. The only thing is, they kept adding up. There were more and more verses that it kept happening to. And I had so many important doctrines where I really had important questions. And those seemed to be the same places where those guys could not come to an agreement. So then my doctrines became more and more fuzzy. The more I researched, the more fuzzy they got because I had nothing to set my faith on. I had nowhere to go to say, this is what God said. Years ago, my friend Ron said to me, if God did something right the first time, would he need to do it a second? That started me on an entire journey. And the journey was from doubt to faith. I started first finding out that God is a consistent God. God made consistent promises. And if he made a consistent promise, you should be able to find what he had promised. God says, I preserve my words. Well, there are two giant major witnesses of what his words are. There are two different camps. And the one camp hates the other. And the funny thing is, the one camp that hates the other is all the other Bibles. And I have them all. I had everything I could think of. And they all were fighting against one. The same teachers who said all Bibles are 99% the same were saying, that Bible is the bad one. Don't ever go to that one. Don't ever trust that one. Which of course makes it even more intriguing unless you believe your professors. For years, I believed my professors. After a while, it was this quagmire where I could not see where my doubt and my faith were. Where do I set anything down? I don't know. I'd now left so many verses, so many holes in my faith that I had nowhere to set my faith. And so I had to start with, okay, I have God's promise. Once I realized that God had promised to keep his words, and God is a promise-making, promise-keeping God, the next question was, where are they? His words have to be somewhere. So then I looked for an historical witness. Ron said it. If God did it right the first time, does he need to do it a second? So I looked for an historical witness. And then, of course, I ended coming back to that old King James. And so, when I went online, I saw all the articles against the King James. I used to test my prowess at saying all the things I was taught as fast as I could. And I'd run right through those lists. And then something happened. I read a debate between Gail Riplinger and a guy named James White, and I liked James White. And I read this debate between them, and I was going, yeah, see, there you go, Then G.A. Ripplinger, whoever that was, made a response, and I went, ooh, that's interesting. And I looked at the evidence, and I looked at that statement, and I went, oh, well, of course, James is going to say, I'll give you that one, but let's go on to these other arguments. And I went to James's response, and he didn't. He doubled down. And I was talking to my wife, Deborah, and I was saying to the computer, hey, what are you doing that for? Ripplinger's right, you're wrong, let that one go on to the next argument. But he didn't. And that made me even more intrigued. So then I had to start looking further. And over the years, what I found out was that the historical witness was for a consistent Bible and a consistent faith. The historical witness was that there is one Bible, and it does come from God, and that one Bible does bring faith, not doubt. And when I came to that point of realizing the King James Bible was that book in English, it changed my entire life. I no longer had a doubt about where I was going or about what a verse said. I didn't have a doubt about whether the translators were clear or unclear. I trusted God who gave his words. The Lord gave the word. Great was the company of those that published it. Psalm 68:11. I wanted a published Bible. God said through Solomon, quote, I know that whatsoever God doeth it, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it, and God doeth it that men should fear before him. Ecclesiastes 3:14. That's a promise about God himself in Ecclesiastes. I want to follow that line of thinking. And from the moment I placed my faith in God, that his words were right in front of me, I have never looked back. I've seen nothing but my faith increase, my soul-winning abilities increase, my concern for souls increase, my concern for godliness increase. And all these doctrines that were so unsettled before have been settled for a long time. From the day I placed my faith in God's words in English, the King James Bible. God bless you and have a wonderful day.